everyone, so today's video is going to be a little bit of a different video. I've been making a lot of those recently, but I'm feeling in the mood to make videos like that, so I'm going to. But this week's topic is basically like mental health and the way that people talk about it and how physically disabled people are not really like thought about when people talk about mental health. Like the advice that people give is usually very much made for able-bodied people, and me as a disabled person who is physically disabled and as someone who also like struggles with depression, like I feel like this topic is very personal to me because again, like it affects me a lot, so I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, hopefully you guys find it interesting. I am currently like in a very big pain flare. Like my pain is really bad. It has been for the past 2 days. So yeah, if my speech is a bit slurred or my sentences don't really make sense, it's because of that. Like I'm in too much pain to really think straight. So yeah, let's just get into the topic of today's video. And yeah, like I said, I hope you guys find it interesting. So let's just get into it. Now, like I already said, I am someone who struggles a lot with depression. I'm sorry if you could hear my cat yawn in the background, but I am someone who struggles a lot with depression, and I recently started trying to go to therapy. And when I say trying to, I also mean it because it hasn't been easy. The first person that I went to basically was way too expensive for me to afford, and they didn't tell me that on the phone. Like I asked them how much I had to pay, and they basically just like lied about how much I would need to pay when I was there, so that wasn't fun. And then the second person, the person that I'm currently still seeing, even though I've only seen them once in the past like 3 months, because they're struggling a bit finding a accessible room for us to have like the therapy session. So yeah, it's basically taking a long time for them to figure out where we can sit that doesn't involve like taking a staircase. And I'm sorry if you can hear my cat like washing himself. I think he might just be biting a plushie that's right behind the camera. I don't really know which one he's doing, but yeah, basically going to therapy has been a struggle. I have to find like a therapist that, you know, knows a bit about like physical disabilities and is also accessible to me. I don't have to go up any staircases, and it's not too far for me to walk and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle for me to find a therapist that works, and I still don't really know if I found them because again, this person's really struggling trying to find like a place for us to do the session. But I feel like it was necessary for me to finally go to a therapist because again, a lot of the advice that is like given to like someone who looks up on the internet, like how do I cure my depression or something like that, like a lot of the advice is very like physical advice, like go for a walk, exercise, like hang out with your friends. Like those are things that are not really like accessible to me. Like even the go out with your friends thing, like as like someone who is like physically disabled, like I don't tend to keep friends a lot because it's something that a lot of disabled people struggle with. Like once they become disabled, like a lot of their friends just like leave them because you can't really do much anymore and you're not seen as like fun anymore because you're in pain constantly and you can't really go outside much and you're not really fun to hang out with anymore. So yeah, a lot of that advice is just not very accessible to me, and yeah, that's why I wanted to make this video, to just like talk about that and how like damaging that can be as like again someone who struggles with depression, who has like physical disabilities. It's basically why I wanted to make this video, mainly to just make people aware of the fact that like when most people talk about mental health, they don't really include physically disabled people because a lot of the advice is just not attainable to us. And I'm sorry if you can hear my cat jump off my desk. Yeah, as you can tell, maybe you could tell, like, he is very playful today. Let's hope he doesn't try to, like, destroy my room. But yeah, this is basically just, like, a PSA to people that if you are someone who talks about mental health, to maybe, like, include disabled people in it. Because I joined, like, a group recently that advocates for, like, mental health and stuff like that. And I mentioned that like some of the things that we were asked to do to like advocate for mental health, like some of the things that we were asked to do were not like possible for me because I am disabled. And then the creator of the like mental health group basically sent me like a very long message, like a private message, saying that I was being too negative in the group chat and I shouldn't let what I can't do like affect other people in the group chat, because I was making people sad and making them more depressed. And I was just like, if me mentioning that I'm disabled and I struggle to do some of the things that you're asking me to do makes you more depressed, like that's not my issue. Like that's not my issue. Like I'm just saying what I'm experiencing and I should be allowed to do that. I wasn't saying anything mean. I was just saying like, hey, these two things that you guys are asking me to do, I can't do them. I'm physically disabled. I can't really do them. So yeah, sorry about that. I'll do the other stuff though. And then I got the message being like, hey, you can be negative in the group chat. And I'm just like, I'm not being negative though. I feel like that's such a good example of like people who advocate for mental health, who think that they're doing like a great thing, and they're doing a good thing by advocating for mental health, but then they're also like discriminating against people who don't just have mental health issues. It's like the same way that like people talk about mental health issues, but they only mention like the parts that are not really gross. For example, like I remember there was this tweet like a while ago, I don't remember how long, that basically made fun of the fact that people who are depressed like sometimes spend weeks not showering. And then someone responded to that saying like, this person literally wants to like unalive themselves, like not showering is the least of their worries. Like that's how depression works. Sometimes it's not always just like, oh, your room is a bit messy. It's also just like not taking care of yourself at all. And I feel like as a physically disabled person, that's like even worse, because it's not just like my depression makes me not want to take care of myself, but it's also just like I literally cannot. Like I literally cannot take care of myself because my body just doesn't allow me to. Like for example, yesterday I was preparing to film these two videos that I filmed today, and I obviously had to like shower and like wash my hair, and I just didn't have the energy to like do my regular like hair care routine. And so I just did shampoo once and that was it. And my hair was like completely dried out when I came out of the shower, like it was completely dried out. I felt like I had ruined it just because like my health didn't allow me to. And again, I feel like people don't understand that goes like hand in hand. Like especially for again physically disabled people who are depressed, like not being able to take care of yourself because you're depressed and not being able to take care of yourself because of your disabilities, like they go hand in hand. Like it's one or the other that makes you unable to do certain things. Like it's always like either one of them. It's never like neither of them. I always struggle with one of them the most, like my mental health or my physical health. So I never really have like a break from it. And again, these groups like advocating for like mental health, like it's all good until you bring up like sides of mental health issues that they don't want to hear. Like for example, the really gross side of it, and the side of it that like people who are disabled also struggle with it and can't just like go on a walk to clear their mind. Like I'm stuck inside of my room 24/7. I go outside once a month. Like I can't go outside to take a walk, because then I can't take another walk to clear my head for another month. Like that's not possible for me. So I feel like I would really appreciate it if like people who talk about mental health talk also about like disabled people struggling with their mental health, and that we typically like can't really take a lot of the advice that people give us, like going on a walk, going outside with friends, like taking a bath, stuff like that. Like it's just not something that a lot of us can do. And so I feel like I would appreciate it a lot if like again groups who like advocate for mental health issues, if they talked about again like the growth side of mental health issues, and not just like the isolating yourself for a little bit, but also the they don't shower for a month thing. Like if they talked about that, and if they talked about like physically disabled people struggling with mental health issues, like I would appreciate that a lot. And again, if people did that in the first place, like actually give advice that like physically disabled people can use, I wouldn't have to struggle to find a therapist, because clearly therapists are also not very accessible to me, because again, I've only had one appointment with the therapist who was willing to take me. And again, it's been 3 months since I've seen her because she's struggling to find another appointment where I don't have to go up like 2 flights of stairs. So clearly, like, disabled people like me need like advice that you can read online, just like able-bodied people can, and it can actually help us. Like, I genuinely cannot believe that like able-bodied people can like go online, look up how to make your depression a little bit better, and they can just like find advice that works for them. Like, I genuinely cannot believe that. Like, I wish I had that. And I feel like a lot of disabled people, again, physically disabled people, like, feel like that I wish we could just go online and find advice that like works for us, and we don't have to like go to a therapist and pay like a shit ton of money and then never see the therapist ever again because the therapist is also not accessible to us. Like it's so like frustrating. And yeah, that's basically why I wanted to make this video, is to just like make people aware, like when you're talking about like mental health issues, like maybe think about us as well, you know, because we're typically left out. Like, maybe think about us as well, you know, otherwise nobody thinks about us and we'll just be like that forgotten population. So that's why I'm making this video, to basically just like, again, get people to like talk about disabled people as well. I know I'm saying like a lot of the same things, but again, I'm in a very big pain flare and I can't really think straight. I don't really remember what I said like 5 minutes ago, so I can't tell if I'm repeating myself. Hopefully I can fix that in editing. But yeah, the whole point of me making this video was basically just like, when you talk about mental health, like, please don't forget us like physically disabled people. Like, we're here as well. We also struggle with our mental health, probably more so than other people, to be honest. And yeah, just, you know, mention us as well. Like, don't forget about us. So yeah, I hope this was kind of interesting. Like I already said, I think I repeated a lot of the same stuff because I'm in so much pain I can't really think straight. But yeah, I hope you guys still like thought this video was interesting. And yeah, sorry for my cat. He was a bit playful. He's acting a bit strange today. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too much of a bother. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it at least like a little bit interesting. So yeah, thank you for watching, and bye.